Hello everybody. Today is Tuesday once again. I forgot, what was the date today? September 25th or something. Yeah, 25th. Lose track after a while. 12 o'clock here on churchtalkradio.com, and we're on Facebook on Church Talk Radio also, and on my own Facebook Live, Total Health Wellness Center. You can check us out there. And as we go along, if anybody wants to leave a comment or a question below on Facebook, on either one, you can do that and I will get back to you. If you want to call, 631-766-9931. You can call and we can talk live on the air if you choose to do so. My office is in Sayville, New York, on Sunrise Highway. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Frank Gomez. I've been a chiropractic sports physician for 32 years. It's a long time. Helping hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people along the way. So today, our little tip here, we're going to start with, I feel like I'm having a news broadcast today. It's going to be doing a lot of reading, a lot of research and stuff that I looked up. So, tip of the week, as usual, we will start there. Seafood is the best source of omega-3 fatty acids. Now, this is about the third week in a row that we've talked about fatty acids, so we figure we'll finish off with this. And as the news goes here, it says eating regular small amounts of fatty 3 acids is beneficial for a lot of things. Blood pressure, reduce risks of cardiovascular attacks, strengthens your heart, good for blood circulation. So in general, seafood is good for you. As long as it's good, wholesome seafood. Nowadays, the homegrown or farm-grown seafood, fish especially, is not good for you. With the GMOs invading the fish market and all the antibiotics that they use, just like they do with the cattle and every other thing. So you got to be careful with that. Wild caught fish is the best, especially up north. Alaskan salmon is probably the best food that you could eat. We try to stay away from lobsters and crabs and shrimps and that kind of thing. So let's do it. The role of proteins, minerals, vitamins, fatty 3 acids are all in the seafood. All right. It's good for your brain. It reduces chances of stroke, reduces chances of Alzheimer's disease. So, and depression, aids in the formation of the nervous system. It helps your digestive system, your eyes, contributes to relieving a lot of symptoms in eye diseases. It's great for colitis, Crohn's disease, basically a whole slew of things. Now, if you're not a fish eater, it's real easy to get. You can just go to a really good vitamin store, not like you're going to go to Walmart, and you're not going to go to Kmart or something and pick up some kind of a cheap fish oil. Because a lot of times fish oils are over-processed. Once they get over-processed, they get very acidic, and then they cause havoc in our systems. So you will go to a good place, GNC. You go to a vitamin store. You can, you basically know that you go to a decent vitamin store, and I'll just leave it at that. Fish oil is also good for brain development. It's good for joint disease. It's good for the degenerative changes due to arthritis. There's a lot of good things that these omega-3s fatty acids are really good for. So that'll be the tip for the week. Go get some omega-3 fatty acids, get some really good fish oil, and that's really where you're going to start. Good multivitamin, multi-mineral can go with that, and D3, also very important. Turmeric, very important for anti-inflammatory. So if you're going to get anything, those four. You would get multi-mineral, multivitamin, very good one, a D3 vitamin. You would get turmeric and a good fish oil. Those four will do you good. So Today we're going to talk about hugs, not drugs. You know, new research shows that the healing power, what the healing power of touch actually will do. And pulled up a couple of research articles, so we're just gonna go through this real easy. A lot of times these things start off on a tangent, but it brings it all back in, and you'd be wondering why, you know, I'm talking about certain things. But maybe in a popular rock band, like U2 had it right back in the 1991 with the hit song, said mysterious ways with the lyrics, to touch is to heal. However, they weren't the first to make the claim. Healing power of touch has been written about since the dawn of civilization. You know, many of the scientific evidence is set back up, and it shows how the healing takes place. You know, a case in point is when you have a newborn baby, right? When they're first born, all babies love to be held, because one, they're used to that because their mother's carrying them around. But there's something about the human touch, human to human, that makes it very personal, and you can actually, you trade electromagnetic fields, and they become stronger when you're together. You know, when you get married, they say, you know, the two becomes one, and that's really, that's so true. Walking through whatever, and you're married, your spouse, and you're holding hands, you know, you actually will trade off. Electrical fields will help strengthen both of you. So that's just a little thing. You know, last week I was out with my wife, and I was walking ahead of her, and, you know, as a guy, we don't think about certain things all the time. Gets us in trouble. And she was, you know, kind of like, you know, you're not holding my hand. I was like, oh, crap, you know. And it's not that I didn't want to. It's just that because I'm a dude, and we are thinking about a million things all the time. And, you know, my wife's awesome, man. She brings me back to earth every once in a while, and I really kick in the butt, you know. Okay, so let's say you have a bucket filled to the top of water. What happens if you stick your hand in the bucket? Well, it overflows, right? It overflows with the volume that your hand would take up. So if the bucket was not already full, then the water would just rise to the proportion of the volume of the change that was, it would be easily measured. So think of this. What happens when you put your fist in the ocean? All right, when you put your fist in the ocean, the same exact thing happens, believe it or not. The water does rise. But, you know, it's so incremental, you can never measure. That's like point gazillion zeros and a one, but it does happen. So, so that's kind of interesting. But the truth of the matter is there are many things that happen that we simply cannot measure. That's one of the reasons science is so fascinating. New ways of measuring and testing are constantly being developed to uncover the mysteries of the universe. Just because science has not yet proven something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. One great example of this probably discovered what was being called the God particle. And I'm going to have to read this basically word for word. So, after decades of careful experiments, physicists say that they found the strongest indication to date to prove the existence of Higgs boson, the subatomic particle so important to understanding of space, time, and matter that the physicist Leon Linderman called it the God particle. Now, a lot of us kind of heard that before. The announcement today, based on experiment at Department of Energy's Firm Lab near Chicago and other institutions, it is not the final word, but it's really close. And it comes just before a major meeting in Australia, where more findings will be announced from the Giant Underground Particle Accelerator, CERN, C-E-R-N, the great physics lab in the Alps and the French-Swiss border. This is one of the cornerstones of how we understand the universe, said Rob Rosner, FemLab physicist, and it's not there. Excuse me. And if it's not there, we have to go back to our assumptions. But they did end up finding that. Until very recently, researchers did not have the technology to discover the particle, and that was before 2012. And then once 2012 comes, you know, they did figure it out. So what does all this mean? You know, what about the power of touch, the power of the healing of touch? An article published in Scientific American Journal reads, a team led by Professor Ron Frosting of the University of California introduced strokes in rats by blocking the artery of the brain. I'm not a fan of doing testing on animals, but I guess certain things have to be done to move humans forward, but I still don't get that. Anyway, it has a good ending. The researchers then stimulated their whiskers, intending to measure the rat's brain activity to learn how the stroke damage affects sensory functions. The neurons that ordinarily would have died continued to function normally, and the rats ended up with no paralysis or no sensory deficits. The exact mechanism of the protective effect is unclear, but it seems to involve the rerouting of blood through undamaged veins in the brain. And that all came from touch. The article later revealed that the pattern of tickling the rats with whiskers didn't matter, but more tickling did help. So the more they touched the rats, the more they tickled their whiskers, the more they did whatever, stimulated the brain, stimulated the neurology of the body, stimulated the blood flow, and everything started to work again, and the rats didn't suffer anything that would normally be suffered from having a stroke, which was kind of cool. So here is what WebMD said about touch therapy. Emerging research suggests that touch therapy works. In one landmark study, 16 happily married women were subject to the threat of mild electric shock. Okay. Touching their husband's hands brought immediate relief from the resulting anxiety. Again, I brought up that thing in the beginning about holding hands while you're walking around. Even a stranger's touch is somewhat calming. We know that anxiety decreases immune function and what makes you sick more often. Stress, of course, right? Says study author Joan Cohn, the neuroscientist at the University of Virginia. If touch can help you become less anxious, more likely to stay well. So, the more we need physical touch, that's why when they put people in isolation, especially in jail cells and whatnot, they get very violent and they get very sick, because there is no connection to the outside world. There is no touch. There is no communication. And as humans, we need that. We need that to live. Of course, every article and study needs more research to be done, but, that goes to say with any kind of research that's done. All right. So even though without the absence, without proof or absence of scientific studies that have continued to do so, being a chiropractor, I know that touch is very important. That's what chiropractors do. They put hands on people, they manipulate, they move around, we work, stretch the muscles out. Just the fact that you put your hands on somebody, you can actually start the healing process. So, patients get better with or without scientific studies and things like that. So, it's one of the things that I like to tell my patients, kind of a little joke on the side. I used to ask them, who is the very first chiropractor? And they look at me like, and I have no clue. I tell them Jesus was the first chiropractor. They look at me cockeyed like I have 10 eyes, and I tell them, look, this is the deal. All he did, he touched people. That's how he healed them. Now, of course, he was more advanced than we are as chiropractors, but that was the gist of the thing, right? So even back then, touch was very important. So while you're out, when you're with your kids, it's great to hold them, hug them, give them some encouragement as you do with anybody. There's so many people that go to bed these days starving for attention, starving for some positive feedback, and that can lead to a lot of health issues. So bottom line, with all that said, go out and touch somebody today, but do it for somebody because you don't want to get yourself in trouble. Okay. my joke, whatever. All right. Oh, last night, okay, I'll give you another example. Last night I had a meeting. I run a men's organization, and we get a lot of men who are quote unquote broken, right? They've been through divorce. They've been through a lot of things that life has beat the crap out of them. You know, and as a man, we have a responsibility, well, I guess a self-imposed responsibility to take care of a lot of different things. One of them is to take care of our family, right? You know, most of the men feel like they need to be the breadwinner, or they need to be the man to protect their families. And after a while, when life just tends to beat you down, you don't know which direction to take. I know I've been there, and it's tough when life does beat you up and you don't really feel like a man. You don't know how to take care of certain things. And the way we help these men is we just get into a circle, and we kind of put our hands around each other, and you can just feel the energy start to build up. And you know, you got 20, 30, 40 men in a big circle, and everybody's embracing from shoulder to shoulder, and it makes a huge difference. And you know, we check in with these men afterwards, and just doing that one little thing, giving them some encouragement, gives them a little bit of hope and to changing the way they do things in their life. And of course, you know, we're there to help them along the way as well. So if you're feeling a little down, look around, you know, give your wife a hug, give your husband a hug, give your kids a hug, and you know, you'll feel a lot better. So okay, the next thing, and the last thing that we're going to hit today is I like to do something called the inspirational story of the week. And you know, sometimes these are quite moving, and sometimes they're, you know, they're always moving, but some more than others. Sometimes I read these in the beginning, and it definitely brings tears to my eyes, you know, to know that, you know, there are such good people still out there. Everybody talks about, you know, how tough the world is and how bad people are, you know. And the fact is, it's just like the 80-20 rule, just like anything else in life. You know, there's 20% of the bad, you know, and then there's 80% of the good. But because of the media these days, they enhance all the bad. It's just terrible, you know. So just keep that in mind. 80% of the population out there is great, and we'll definitely give you a hand if you actually ask for it. So, for a complete stranger, how a 24-year-old nursing student entered a fire-blazing crash and became a real American hero. On a cold November day in New Jersey, 24-year-old Angelica Mercado was driving down the road, simply minding her own business on her way to nursing school. Before she knew it, she had stumbled on a horrific car crash. I looked up again, and within seconds they were in flames. And they were like huge flames, she says. An 18-wheel tractor trailer filled with gasoline tipped over and burst into flames. While everyone fled the extremely dangerous scene, Angelica headed right to the flames to rescue the driver. I saw the flames on his head and his shoulders and his clothes were just falling to the ground, and I was running up as I was running up to him. Angelica took off the coat and took off her coat and wrapped it around the man. She forced him to the ground and smothered out all the flames. Her jacket actually melted onto the man, and so did his boots. Fearing the tanker was going to explode, Angelica picked up the driver and carried him to the car. She drove him to the nearest emergency medical center. I was scared. I knew I had to get him right to the hospital. He was hunched over, moaning in pain. His body was so hot that the heat was fogging up the windows in the car. It was just a scary situation. You know, I don't know about anybody out there, but it definitely would have took a whole lot for me to actually run up to a tanker full of flames like that to go inside to pull somebody out of a cab. So, you know, kudos for that. Because of Angelica's situation, 32-year-old Raja Singh lived. He and his family man, he's a family man and had been driving a truck for only 4 months. He had survived the burns in his back and his legs. Angelica didn't consider herself a hero. I just did what I feel anyone else would have done in that situation. She may feel that way, but many others ran away from the same burning tanker as she ran to help. According to Raja, of course she's a hero, but very simple, true words. Angelica said she decided to go into nursing because she wanted to make a difference in people's lives. She is still in school, and she has saved one already. Angelica and Raja still keep in touch. Angelica calls him for updates and to see how he's doing. Raja is going through physical therapy and plastic surgery. When interviewed, Angelica said how scared she was when she first saw the crash and the flames. Everyone was running away. She wanted to run away also, but something inside her wouldn't let her. Something inside her grabbed her and made her risk the life to help a complete stranger. You know, when I hear things like that, and when people don't understand why they do certain things, especially good things for other people that they don't even know, I just feel, you know, it's like the Holy Spirit has taken over this person's body and give them the power and the situation to go and help somebody. Like she would say, she picked this person up. God knows, I don't know if he was a big guy, small guy, but you know, a human being weighs a lot, and it's dead weight, and she's a woman. You know, no offense, women, but men are usually stronger than women. And she was able to actually pick him up and walk him back to the car. So, you know, somebody was watching her, somebody was pushing her or something. And for me, it was a divine intervention there. So, whatever that something was inside her, it was special stuff so many common folk think they don't have. It is special stuff heroes are made of. Angelica doesn't live in a bat cave or wear a cape or a mask. She's just a good person with a big heart. This is a special thanks to Angelica Mercado from the actions that show from all of us we can do the same and do it more often. So trying to help a complete stranger shouldn't only be attempted when someone is on fire. So, you know, what I get out of that is, you know, we're all here to help. And the scripture says that we're supposed to be here to help the masses. And we're here to serve, you know, and it's not about us. It's about everybody around us. And it's about what we can do to help them, whether it's get through a bad situation or help them even if they're in a good situation, celebrate with them, whatever it is. Because we're all God's children and we all come from the same place. You know, for me, I feel like I was put here to help, and you know, I'm always out there doing something for someone else. You know, I have my phone blows up a lot sometimes, and you know, my wife gets a little annoyed, but she's been, you know, with me. Understands where I'm coming from. I get a lot of men calling me, asking me for advice, and when things are down and out, I usually can think of something to say to at least lift their spirits a little bit, and that's one reason why I do what I do. That's one reason why I became a chiropractor in the first place, and was to help people. So all I could say for the rest of today is go out and help somebody. You know, help somebody you don't know. Help a stranger. You know, reach down and help somebody up. You know, when I'm out and there's people, you know, there's always people asking for money for certain things. You know, they have a hat out and whatever. You know, I always give them something. You know, and regardless of, you know, if it's a true situation or not, because hey, you know, I'm giving, and if they're doing it for scrupulous reasons, then that's on them and it's not on me. And you know, I'll still get a point from God for that. So and that's it. You know, again, if you have any questions about anything to do with anything that we've ever talked about, weight training, diet, any kind of health conditions, back issues, wellness conditions, vitamins, supplements, blood work, you know, that we do in the office, anything, you can just leave it at the bottom of the Facebook pages, and then I'll get back to you. Also, please like the Facebook pages and follow them because we get points from Facebook for that too as well. So this is Dr. Frank Gomez, and it's churchtalkradio.com. I'm going to be signing off here, and next week, Tuesday, 12 o'clock, I'll be back, and we'll be finding something else interesting to talk about. And again, you can leave something down. If you want to hear something, leave it, and we'll bring it up for next time we get together. So thanks for listening, and God bless. Have an awesome week. Bye-bye.